What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Movies That Make You podcast. Season 2 is in full gear, and so we are super excited for what we got going on this season. Just to let you know what that means, we still have our weekly Prepisodes where we discuss movies to watch in preparation for a new release hitting theaters. I got my buddy POPpaGoss on those each and every week. Those drop on Mondays at 6 a.m. Also, we have our Creators Conversations. This is where we're interviewing people from the business and beyond to discuss what they do to create and how they create their art. So be on the lookout for that on YouTube. We're also doing our monthly watch-alongs where we pick a movie to watch. We live stream our conversation while we're watching the film on YouTube. This week, we're finishing out our Star Wars month by talking about all the video games. So this will be the Gaming Galaxy featuring Scott Raymond and Chris Valentin back for one final episode of our Star Wars month to celebrate this great franchise. We hope you also check out our website at moviesthatmakeyoupodcast.com. There you can see all of our social links. You can listen to the podcast. You can watch the podcast. We also have our merch store. You can find tons of merch for Movies That Make You and our friends. We also have a link to our letterbox where you can see all the movies that we watch in preparation for the new releases, but also the movies that make you laugh, the movies that make you cry, the movies that make you scream, and everything in between. So before we get to this week's episode, let's check out what we got coming up on the Movies That Make You podcast. Next week, we're going to be talking about 80s cartoons that were turned into live action movies, all in preparation for Masters of the Universe hitting theaters that Friday. We've got two special guests that are going to be on the episode, Cross Save Collectibles and Frog Pop Fanatic, both first-time guests. We have such a fun conversation with them around these movies. We're excited to share it with you. And on Friday, June 5th at 2 p.m., we've got our creator conversation with Michael Levy. He is a producer, actor, director, and he's produced such films as Screamboat, The Pitchfork Retreat, Stream, Terrifier 2 and 3, as well as being a part of the new movie dropping that same day, Scary Movie 6. The week after that, we've got Spielberg Invasion. We're going to be welcoming our first-time guest, Papa Not Working. We're going to be talking about Spielberg movies with aliens in them, all in preparation for Disclosure Day dropping in theaters that Friday. The week after that, we've got the Toy Saga, featuring Wes Clark, writer and director of How to Start a Cult in 5 Easy Steps. We're going to be talking about all the prior Toy Story movies, all in preparation for Toy Story 5 hitting theaters that Friday. The week after that, we've got Girl Power, featuring Brian Garner, who is a podcaster for Be More Super and the SWAU YouTube channels. We're going to be talking about a bunch of female superhero films, all in preparation for Supergirl hitting theaters that Friday. Hope those episodes excite you. So without further ado, let's get to the podcast. We are back with another episode of the Movies That Make You podcast. I am Sprang. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. POPpaGoss. What's up, buddy?
Hello, everyone.
And for our third Star Wars episode of the month, the last of our Star Wars month, we've got Scott and Chris back. What's up, guys?
What's up?
How you guys doing?
Doing good. I'm actually in the middle of editing our first episode that drops on Monday. As of the recording of this, we're dropping our first one for Star Wars month. With one week break to do, because Mortal Kombat, we couldn't go not talk about Mortal Kombat. So we've got that one dropping the next week after this. But yeah, this is our third week. It was funny on our first episode, or when we recorded both previous episodes, we talked about doing an episode for video games at some point in the future, and figured why not now? You know, the best time is now. So we are going to get into it. This has been a crazy month for Star Wars. Darth Maul's finale, Shadow Lord finale, dropped on May 4th, 2-episode finale there. And then we also had The Mandalorian and Grogu that dropped last week. So we hope you enjoyed that episode. And this week, we're just going to take an episode and talk about Star Wars video games, because they've played a huge role in the cultural zeitgeist. That they've been a huge thing for fans of the movies and the TV shows alike to like be engaged and play around in the world in the universe of Star Wars. And so we're gonna dive into them. But first, before we jump into specific games, Chris, tell us a little bit about what like games you like, gaming systems, and where Star Wars fits in your like games of choice.
I think my first ever Star Wars game probably was on the Xbox 360. My brother owned it. It wasn't originally mine because I was like 10 years old at the time. It was the 2005 Battlefront 2.
Okay.
Nice. That's what started the whole flow into me. And then once I got a PC, I actually was able to start like emulating like most of the older games, like Force Unleashed. I'd replayed those. I had that originally, believe it or not, on the Wii, which was a weird concept to some people. I played that on the Wii. Most people had a 360 or a PS2. I played both The Force Unleashed. I did both Battlefronts, old gen and new gen. The Legos Skywalker Saga was also great, also old and new gen. Did Star Wars: The Old Republic, and then I've played Knights of the Old Republic Sith Lords. I didn't play the other one though.
Okay,
Those were
very
my
nice.
those were my biggest choices of games that I've played though.
Yeah, that's awesome. Scott, how about you?
So growing up, I wasn't allowed to have a console. Finally, my parents caved and got me a Wii so I could, be active while playing video games. And my most played game was Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, sitting with the controllers right here in my
Yeah.
in my hands. But I played Battlefront 1 and 2 from 2004 and 2005 on the neighbor's Xbox. Played those way too much. Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga and the first one and the second one, which were just episodes 1, 2, and 3 for the first one, 4, 5, and 6 for the second. Complete Saga put it all together into one beautiful game. When I got my PC, I went back and played Battlefront 1 and 2 again. New people, new friends, got to play with all of them. Played Fallen Order when it came out, Survivor when it came out, and went back and played Force Unleashed 1 and 2 because I played the second one when it came out, and only the second one because that's the one that my mom got me. But the Knights of the Old Republic, I played on the family PC a long time ago, and I wouldn't trade it for a thing.
Nice. How about you, Josh? You played any of the Star Wars games?
Yeah, so it's been a while. I played, I kind of grew up a lot of the PS1, PS2 stuff that was coming out. One of my all-time favorites that I had fun with as a teenager was Jedi Power Battles. You could play as like Mace Windu and Obi-Wan, and it was all in the Episode 1 realm, basically. But it was a lot of fun. It was kind of like TMNT Turtles in Time, which is one of my all-time favorite games. So it was like where you were characters and then you'd go through like the side view, just like Mario, like the old school Mario. But you'd
Mhm.
battle all, battle droids and stuff like that. But it was a lot of fun, especially for an older system. I played a little bit of Unleashed, the first one. I never got to play the second one. Um, Battlefront, I played a lot. The first one for PS2, I played that one when I was younger, and then when the newer ones, 1 and 2 came out, I had just gotten my PS4 not too long before that. So my buddies who played online all the time, they got it, and we had a lot of fun. It's not a perfect, they're not perfect games by any means, but if it's like Call of Duty, but in the Star Wars universe. So tons of fun
Mhm.
playing online, and you get to, play as some of the characters from the movies and stuff. So it was a lot of fun. But other than that, I played a little bit of Fallen Order when that first came out. They had like I think it was like 70% off on the PlayStation Store one day. So I just went ahead and bought it because it had just come out. And I didn't play a ton. I probably got through like the first, I don't know, quarter of the game. But then the maps were, I'm not a very good gamer, especially as I get older. So, cause I just don't play as much.
Mhm.
So I like the maps were kind of challenging. Like I couldn't get past certain things, and I was like, well, I'm not even really playing anyway. So I kind of gave up, and I haven't played the newer one, but it looks awesome, and I love Dominic Monaghan. I like how they like basically created him into the Star Wars universe as himself, basically as Cal Kestis. So we should see him hopefully in live action form soon. They said it's rumored, but not we don't know what he'll show up in. So, but yeah, it'd
Yeah.
be awesome because he's a
Yeah.
really cool character. I think
Yeah.
fans have enjoyed those two newer games a lot. And I know he's a popular character amongst fans, so that'd be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I started back. My best friend David has had Tie Fighter, so I knew of it. I never played it, but I knew of Tie Fighter. I played Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. I didn't play the online one, but I did play Battlefront think 1 and 2, the new ones. I didn't play the originals because I was kind of in that realm between systems and kind of graduating college and a new job and a marriage, and like I didn't have money to just buy all the video games I wanted to buy. So
Missed
later
out.
on, I got Force Unleashed. I don't know that I've actually played it yet. I haven't. I think I may have put it in and played a little bit of it on PS2. And then we'll get to some of the newer ones I played. Squadrons, which is the flight kind of game that came out in 2020. Lego Star Wars, obviously, a lot of different versions of that. And then Jedi Fallen Order. I haven't played Survivor yet, but looking forward to jumping on that soon. So yeah, so that's a little bit of my history with the video games. My consoles have been, I've been on consoles since I was a kid, the Nintendo, and then Super Nintendo, played Atari at my aunt and uncle's. But then like the newer ones, at one point I had all the consoles. I had the Wii, the 360, and the PS2 when they were all like the current gen. And then I kind of picked Xbox One just because the cost became a little bit prohibitive to owning all the systems. So I picked Xbox, and now I've been Xbox One, Xbox Series X. So kind of limited a little bit on that since I don't play on PC. I don't have access to every game probably that's out there. But one of the things we're going to post on the episode notes, guys, is a link to a document that's going to have links on Steam and Amazon for all the games if you want to go grab them, and that'll be awesome to have. So let's just kind of run through the list. I know some of these we've played, some of these we haven't, so we'll just kind of talk a little bit. I'll go first because TIE Fighter is one I put on the list. Like I said, I never played it, but I knew of it. And, in the PC genre at the time, which was like the late 90s, the flight simulator games were big. And so doing a TIE Fighter game where you could fly around in a TIE Fighter was a cool vibe. And so that was probably the first Star Wars video game I ever had any like knowledge of. Did anybody else have any hear about TIE Fighter or play it?
I think I played a little bit of it, because yeah, there was like a grouping of games that kind of came out all not at the same time, but like within a couple years of each other, I think. And TIE
Mhm.
Fighter was one of those games, and I think you can get them all like those older games as like a multi-pack, like digitally now. I know like
Nice.
Bounty Hunters is on there, and I
Yeah,
think TIE Fighters is on there as well. But
I
yeah,
put the link to it on the document. There's a
oh, cool.
complete collection that's currently on sale. I think it's $35 for the entire
Nice.
thing.
Nice.
$8.97.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
relive the glory days.
The old days. Yeah, the old days. The next one I that came into my consciousness was on GameCube. I had a GameCube at one time too, so I had the
Oh,
GameCube
love the
and
GameCube.
the 360 at the same time, and a PS1. So I guess I had that iteration as well. I just realized. But yeah, GameCube had some great games on it. And so Jedi Academy was one of them I knew of. I never played it, but I knew of it. And I when I was looking up lists, a lot of people praised Jedi Academy as being a really solid game. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned it, even if none of us have actually played it. So but I think the big one that hit everybody and still is honored today is one each of us have mentioned, and that's Knights of the Old Republic. This was a RPG game that you got to play as a new recruit to the fight, and based on the decisions that you made, you could become light side or you could become dark side. And it was just a really impactful. Based on those decisions, the story would be slightly different. I think of Mass Effect as being another one that kind of took this Knights of the Old Republic and just did it in its own universe. But I think it's like a carbon copy, if you will, of that at least the system of the way that you progress and stuff. So, Scott, why don't you go first? Tell us a little bit about Knights of the Old Republic and how that game, affects you.
Well, as of recently, I've been wanting to play it again, but they've announced that they're going to remaster it, and I don't want to taint my memory of it by playing the old one like, I mean, right now in my head, it was the perfect game, but it did come out to make sure, like, just to double check.
OG
It came out
Xbox.
in 2003.
Yeah.
I know that it, like, if I go back to it now, it'd be like playing the first Halo game. Like, I mean, it's good, but it doesn't really. I know that it's not going to hold up, so I'm waiting for the remaster to play it again. But being able to see like Darth Malgus go with his weird chin strap, like prosthetic jaw, it was so cool to have those action sequences and being able to just make your own choices and progress the story in your own way, choose your side. I loved it. It was
So
perfect
one
game.
of the things that you saying all that made me realize is that what that game did was exactly what we'd like to see them do in a series or a movie, where it's just, this is just another story at another place in time with a different conflict, a different Darth, and a different hero.
Yeah, absolutely. Outside of the 70 years that make up all of the movies. And I've said
Right.
that in every episode so far. Every Star Wars episode we've done. I want something outside of the Skywalker era.
Right. And I think we're going to get it when we get to some of the upcoming releases. I think we are going to get it. They recognize that, they hear that. And as far as like not just the movies, but in the comics and the novels, they've definitely released in recent years the High Republic series. And so they've tried to dive into that and tell some stories outside of the Skywalker saga, and to some I think some great results there. In that there's good stuff, good stories, good everything. So, and they tried to do it in the TV show a little bit with Acolyte, and it didn't hit with audiences. But they tried to tell this kind of outside of, but it still is like adjacent to the Star Wars saga in that it seems like it was like prequel to Palpatine's rise, in the Sith Order. So, but yeah, I think for me, Knights of the Old Republic, I played it, I loved it, and I actually tried to get my son Jacob to play it, and he's kind of like what you were saying, Scott. He was like, "This isn't great," but I'm like, "No, it's amazing." So maybe when they remaster it, maybe it'll be something that they could to pull back in.
I don't know what date that's coming out. I'll find it.
Sure. How about you, POPpaGoss? You Knights of the Old Republic? Did you say you'd played that one, or you hadn't?
Yeah,
played
I
that
played a little bit. I haven't. I mean, it's been a long time, probably since it came out, the original one. But just a little backstory on it. So, it takes place 3,956 years before A New Hope. And so, like, I mean, that's almost 4,000 years before that.
Yeah.
And I guess the conflict arose from the aftermath of the Mandalorian Wars, which is significant since we're, kind of
Yeah.
in that Mandalorian universe right now. There's also some stuff in the first game about the storyteller talks about Tatooine that used to be like lush with green and life and all
yeah.
that stuff. So like they pretty much hint at the effects of all the battles and stuff from that time period in that game kind of led to what Tatooine was by the time we saw it and what we know it to be, like a big desert and stuff. Um, but it's regarded as one of the greatest games, not just Star Wars, but one of the greatest games ever. It's on the 1001 video games you must play before you die list. They used the biggest thing from this game, the first one at least, was the company got bought out by another company after a couple of games came out. But they did what was it called? Odyssey Engine. That was developed by BioWare. So like that really upped the 3D effects and the RPG role play games and stuff like that. So it was like a really pivotal technology at the time. And so I think that's like the biggest thing to take away is they used a lot of what they got from making those first two games for games in the future, which is really cool. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Well, let's jump over to the second one. Anything else, Scott, that we need to know about the first one? Or are we good?
I can't find. It was something else was announced yesterday, but it wasn't a release date. So we've been waiting 5 years now
Yeah,
since
know,
since
right?
since the remake was like first announced, and nothing has come of it since.
Yep. Cool. Well, let's jump into the next one, which is Knights of the Old Republic 2, Sith Lords. Chris, you said you played this one. Can you share a little bit of how this story, expanded your horizons?
When I first started on this one, I think it was I think my uncle was one who got it into me. And him and my dad were always the biggest Star Wars people. But when I played this, it was when I was up north in Mass visiting, and he's got like a little basement, like a whole little game like arcade room, and I was on his computer and I was playing it. And I remember going through the whole thing is like he was trying to get me to be like he was trying to get me to go down like the Sith Lord path, because like in the second one you're like the lone Jedi. It's like will you fight to like keep the Republic at peace, or will you just join the dark side? He kept trying to get me to like, he's like, no, do this route. He's like, you want like the blue lightsaber, and I just saw red and I was like, I want that one.
Yeah.
And so that whole time it was just me going through a bunch of things. I remember probably going on like a rapid spree of just like slashing troopers after about like when I picked up where he was playing, it was probably about like 4 minutes right before you're supposed to like get to the big climax of like, are you gonna be good or are you gonna be bad? And I was like, I saw red lightsaber, so I went that route. And I remember he came downstairs, he's like, why are you killing everything? I was like,
He's like, I spent all this time on this character.
He goes,
and
you're supposed to be the good guy. I was like, I don't want to be.
Yeah.
But that game is what really like heightened the whole Star Wars things for me. And then once I was able to get my own system, my dad had bought me the first Star Wars Battlefront that came out in I think 2015.
2015.
Yeah, for the remake.
Got it. Yeah, that's awesome. I know I played this. Is this where Darth Revan comes from?
Darth Revan's in the first one.
He's in the first one. Okay, Darth Malak.
Is this Nihilus,
Okay.
I believe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the one Darth guy that should have never died.
Essentially,
Gotcha.
just what he's just evil Starkiller. He's just too OP for the verse.
Well, he doesn't have a tangible body.
Yeah.
He takes his masks off and eats the planet.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. So with that said, I do know that Darth Revan was a big character. So I don't want to kind of skip over that but like, tell us a little bit, Scott, what is Darth Revan's role in the game, and like in the overall, he's come up in prior conversations. So like, what is it about him that makes him so tough?
Well, I mean, without spoiling anything, he's just a badass. He's got a purple lightsaber and a red lightsaber, and he did it. I mean, in comics, I believe he did it before Mace Windu. Yeah, he had the first purple lightsaber, I think. And that's a cool little tidbit. But everything that his character is in the game is just menacing. He has a cool mask. He has a cool, like, the stature of his character is just total badass.
I mean, a good follow-up, you'd say, from Vader.
Yeah.
And even Maul. He's probably more like stoic and controlled than Vader even was, because Vader gets pretty emotional. But what I remember from the game is he's, like you said, he's just like a general, just menacing in his stature, and what, like you said,
every scene that he's in feels like the hallway scene from Rogue One.
Nice.
And what is his? I mean, I guess we don't want to spoil it, but like,
I mean, that game came out in 2003.
What's the in the lure of like the mythology of Star Wars? Where does he land? What is his significance beyond just being awesome in your mind?
Well, now I feel foggy about it. You put me on the spot, and I feel kind of foggy about it. I mean, he was the Vader to Darth Malak, essentially, and I mean, so that would be the parallel. I mean, they followed the rule of two at this point still. So it was like he was the executioner.
I just remember hearing about that character so much, even beyond just the films, or I'm sorry, beyond just me playing the game. He's come up as being one of the greatest Star Wars characters of all time. So definitely wanted to spend some time on that. I think I want to jump to N64. We've got pod racing. I played this at a friend's house. So of the prequels, at least episode 1, Phantom Menace, I think everybody that's a Star Wars fan, whether they like the prequels or not, can agree that the pod racing was the best like action of the first movie.
Oh yeah.
And the mall fight scene, like
Oh,
those
yeah.
two, yeah, Maul and against it, yeah, that's epic. But I mean, like the pod racing is also like that kind of peak, like Star Wars. We didn't have the big space battles like we had in the original, but the pod racing was like that kind of energy of like just
Yeah.
this is so amazing. And so playing the game, I also remember the arcade had it, and the arcade was great because you could actually they had the things just like the pod racers had, so you were like felt like you were really like it was so epic. The N64 game wasn't necessarily great as far as like giving you that same feeling that the movie gave you, but it was still like an interesting like, can we do a racing game in Star Wars and have it be successful? And I think it was pretty successful. So but yeah, I thought, anybody else play the pod racing game?
I unfortunately did not.
I have not, unfortunately. I think I've seen stuff about it, but I never got to actually, sit in front of the screen and get to do a dive in on it.
That being said, is $2.49 on Steam right now for Star Wars Day.
Nice.
Very nice.
They got a whole
Yeah,
deal
no, we
going on.
I remember we lived in Springfield, Missouri at the time when it came out, and we used to go on road trips back to Iowa to see family and stuff. And my mom or dad, or whoever was driving us, we had those like TVs you could set on the back of the seats. And my mom had
Yeah.
a big, the minivan was huge back then, like the Town and Country minivan. So my mom had
Yep.
one of those, and my brother and I, we stopped at Hastings, believe it or not, was still around. Um, and I remember my mom bought us the pod racing game because it had just come out, and we were about to go on this long, 8-hour road trips.
Yeah.
My brother and I had our 64 hooked up in the back seat, and we played on these little TVs in the car, and we
That's awesome.
played the heck out of that game. Yeah, I mean, it was fun. Especially for the time. I mean, Star Wars. I think because what year did that game come out? I think it came out not too long after the episode 1 came out.
Yeah, it was like 2001-ish, because that's when I played it. Was
Yeah, so I mean,
2001.
like they kind of, within a few years of episode 1 coming out in theaters. So I mean, episode 1, even though, longtime Star Wars fans weren't thrilled with it originally, I think it still had hype for the next, 5 years or so, because they were releasing toy lines, and I remember Toys R Us had like a huge bay of like episode 1 stuff, including the pod race game. They had like a little box that had you could get the N64 box with the cartridge in it and everything. Yeah, N64 was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I did want to do a shout out, Scott. What we got coming out this year that's similar to Pod Racer?
We have Star Wars Galactic Racer on October 6th, and it's supposed to be basically the same game.
Really?
Nice.
So it's just like Pod Racer game?
Yeah, I
Nice.
mean, it's a pod racing game, and I don't know how they're going to expand on the character selection. I would assume you get to play all of the ones that have names, which, knowing Star Wars, is all of them.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see, because I think one of the things that makes the Millennium Falcon great is the fact that he's always out trying to outrun somebody. So maybe they'll throw a little teaser in there where you've got to be, get to fly the Millennium Falcon because you're racing. I don't know. If it just sticks with the racers, I mean, it looks amazing. Like the graphics look insane. So it looks a lot of fun. So we'll see kind of how
I
they
think
expand it.
with times changing too, especially in the gaming world, like since the N64 one came out, I think they'll lean heavily towards like the online multiplayer and all the online features and stuff. I'm sure because we didn't have that with N64 back in the day, so I think that'll be really the main difference. And then obviously the effects will be 20 times better, but maybe some new maps, because I think the 64 one, I remember I don't think you had very many maps. I think there was like 2 maps, maybe 3 maps. Sorry,
No,
maybe
you're
like
good.
3 maps, but yeah. So maybe they'll expand on, because the trailer makes it seem like there'll be different worlds and stuff you can race on. So hopefully that will be cool. But yeah, I think a lot of it'll be very similar.
Very cool. All right, let's jump to Battlefront 1 and 2. Now we have two different iterations of this. We've got Battlefront from 2004, and then they redid it in 2015 with the new gen. And same thing, 2005 for Battlefront 2 and 2017. So, Chris, I see you excited.
Yeah, he's itching.
You got excited.
He's itching to go.
I want to let you go on because we've been talking a lot. So let's hear it, Chris. What's your
It's
thought?
mainly the what's it called? Battlefront 2. I didn't get to play the first Battlefront in 2003. The second one in 2005. That was obviously one of the first games, like multiplayer, like Star Wars games that I have ever got into, thanks to my brother. I remember playing that. I would literally come home from like middle school, and I would like hope, like, because he had his own room, I would hope he'd left his system like out in the living room, so that way, like, I would just jump on it because I didn't want to go into his room and ask him. So like every time I got home, it was out on the living room. I was like, yes. So I would go in, turn it on. I remember doing nothing but playing Galactic Conquest, which makes me sad knowing that they never brought that out in the older gen games. But that, to my day, is probably one of the greatest game modes I think I've ever played. Going from planet to planet through system from system, like conquering all the planets and then going head to head against an online opponent too, and like battling each other like on the ground. And then what I really loved most about it was like if you guys met on the same planet, like you traveled there, you did a space battle, and then whoever won that, you then had to go take ground control from there. And to think like where we are now, we had that back in like 2000, like 05. It was such a great game mode that I wish like they could bring back and do something better with.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know I played it. I've got Battlefront 1 and 2 on the Xbox One, and played them both with the boys. We had a lot of fun playing that. It is like you said earlier, Josh. It's like Call of Duty, but in the Star Wars world. So it's rated T instead of M.
Yeah.
So you still get a little bit of that vibe. It's third person, more like Fortnite than it is first person, but you can have a lot of fun. Now you can go into first person mode though, right? In Battlefront.
Yeah, I think you
Oh,
can
the
change
older
your
one,
view. Like there's different views.
The
Yeah.
newer ones, yeah.
Yeah. So, but we had a lot of fun. I mean, being able to play as one of the iconic characters, like being able to pick that character and play locally, or like I guess playing online and stuff too. You get a chance to kind of get those heroes to join your battle. Scott, how about you? Battlefront experience, Battlefront love. Let's hear it.
Battlefront 1 and 2 from 2004 and 2005. So, like my neighbors, the neighbor that I played with the most, he was 3 years younger than me, and his mom went on one little tirade at one point about, well, you can't play Call of Duty yet, after we had already been playing Black Ops and Black Ops 2. So like we had to just pivot, and we went back to playing Battlefront, and we loved it. I mean, it was the game that we played first, and then we transitioned to playing 1v1s on Call of Duty, but then went back to Battlefront and playing instant action. Like Galactic Conquest was great. When you have two people trying to play, Galactic Conquest didn't really work split screen wise because you were just always playing against each other, and it wasn't as fun. The other big issue is they had 3 different copies of Battlefront 2, and all 3 of them were scratched. And the first thing when the game scratches that would just corrupt and disappear were the space battles. It didn't matter where the disc was scratched. I've never understood that. Like, but if you scratched any part of it, space battles were gone.
Wow.
So we always played instant action. Being able to play on all of the different planets as any era, playing Coruscant, playing Naboo on the CIS versus Republic, so clones versus droids, but then also playing Stormtroopers versus Rebels. And then what really captured my heart in those games was being able to play Hunt. So when you're playing on Hoth, you're playing the Wampas versus the Rebels, and that one was the Wampas always won. Playing on Endor, you got to play the Ewoks versus the Stormtroopers. They're the Empire. Geonosis was the clones versus the Geonosians. The most annoying one was on Tatooine. So you're playing in Mos Eisley as the Tusken Raiders versus the Jawas. And the Jawas had a little taser. That was all they had. So you had to be up close. You had to touch them basically. And you're playing against Tusken Raiders with rifles. But then on Mos Eisley, there was Heroic Assault, or I think it was just Assault. I don't remember exactly, but that's the one where you got to play as any Jedi or any Sith, and it was just chaos. In the Sith lineup was also Boba Fett and Jango Fett at the same time. And I just remember, I have so many fond memories of climbing up the rocket just outside the cantina. So then, I mean, Battlefront in 2015 and 2017, I haven't really played a ton of. I don't think I ever played 2015's Battlefront.
Should be a
I
crime.
played Battlefront 2 in 2017's game mode. My favorite game mode in that one was its equivalent of Hunt on Endor.
He's gonna say the Ewok mode.
Oh, the Ewok mode where it's pitch black. That was terrifying. But I'm super fond of all 4 of the games. I mean, knowing what Battlefront 1 did in 2015 and knowing how other people feel about it, whether I played it or not, which if the servers are still up,
Exactly.
Battlefront 2 from 2017 isn't on Steam, but
Yeah.
2015's is. If EA, is it EA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they kept the servers up from 2015, I might get it for Star Wars Day and play it.
I think they still have them up because it is on sale.
Gotcha.
And it's $5 right now for Star Wars Day.
Nice.
That would be worth it. I know it is.
I would
Yeah.
argue the 2015 remake is better than the 2017.
Okay.
That is
Yeah.
one of my biggest things.
I know that they're great games, the newer ones, but they don't spark that same joy that the old ones did.
Yeah.
Because they don't feel the same because they are essentially just Battlefield games reskinned as Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
Yeah. I did want to mention that the Battlefront 2 had a campaign, and that's usually my go-to. Like when I first start a game, even like about Call of Duty, like I'm not great at the multiplayer online, so if it's got a good campaign, that's what sells me. I play that more, and then I play the online stuff or the multiplayer stuff, with the kids or just to check it out. But and I enjoyed the story. I thought the story was good. They introduced a new droid type that I'd never seen before, and then we actually got that droid type and other things too. So actually that might be Survivor or Fallen Order that I'm thinking of for the droid. Anyway, it's cool. I like the campaign mode in that you meet a girl who's in the Empire, and then she starts to feel like she fighting for the wrong side when she sees things happen. So pretty cool stuff. Josh, Battlefront, you have some experience there?
Yeah, so both of those, like I said, I got my PS4 in 2014. I got the Arkham Knight edition
Nice.
one, because I
Yes.
hadn't gotten a new system at the time, and probably, I don't even know. It'd been years, and all my friends at the video store had, PS4, Xbox, like they had all the new systems that had come out. And so my one friend who is really good at games, no matter what, he's really good at Call of Duty and he's really good at like fighting games and stuff.
Mhm.
He kept nudging me. He's like, "Hey man, now that you have a PS4, we should play Star Wars Battlefront." And I was like, "Heck yeah, man." So we would, get home from work late at night and in Colorado, and we'd just stay up for a few hours, and it was a lot of fun, like what Scott said. I mean, it's not the same feeling just because they're almost completely different styles of games in a sense. It's still, for being not having those kind of games in a long time, and more
Mhm.
updated, effects and graphics, and they added some new fun games in there as well. So we would stay up and just play the multiplayer online and just explore the worlds. And it was just kind of fun because I'm like you, Sprang. I'm not super good. I'm not even if I played and played and played, I'm like still just mediocre at best. So I still had fun though. I mean, they're
Yeah.
a blast, especially seeing like different. I enjoyed the maps most of all on the online multiplayer because you'd be immersed in those worlds that you love so much. So that was the part I liked the most. And then obviously, like I think the second one was where you could do you could play as like hero characters, so like the dark side and the light side.
Heroes versus
So that
villains.
was kind of fun. You'd every once in a while, after I don't remember how many points or how much time passed, they would have the option to like bring in a character. So like Luke would show up and just start taking out people because like he's
Yeah.
fast and he has a lightsaber and everyone else is slow. Darth Vader, same thing. But it was really cool when you got to be those hero characters because then you got to like use the Force and like pick people up and crush them and throw them and stuff. So that was cool. I wish they would have elaborated more on that aspect. Where we could have done a lot of the cool stuff from the movies and all that, but still fun. Fun for friends. Like if you're having like a fun get together online with friends, it was a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. A couple of ones I wanted to mention before we moved on that we kind of skipped over timeline wise, which is Rogue Squadron for the GameCube in '98, and then Bounty Hunters 2002. Any thoughts on those two games that we want to share? I know you, Josh, you said you played Bounty Hunters a good bit, right?
I played it a little bit when it first came out. I'm pretty sure I played Rogue Squadrons too. Let me look that. I forget the cover of that one.
Anybody else have thoughts on those, or those were kind of you guys probably weren't even born yet, right?
Well, I wasn't born before Rogue Squadron came out.
Yeah.
So I haven't played that one. I own Bounty Hunters. I just haven't gone back and played it.
Gotcha.
I need to.
Okay. Now looking at it, I did play a little bit of Rogue Squadrons. There's one I'm forgetting that was on PlayStation 1, and what was the name of that one?
I was not bored yet. Looking at those years.
Star Wars.
I looked over to my left. I'm like, Bounty Hunter seems familiar, but I don't think I played it. This is 2002. I was like,
I do know that Rogue Squadron was really hard.
Okay.
Like Gabe was telling me that.
Nice.
Dark Forces. So there was a game that came out for PlayStation 1 called Dark Forces. And in a sense, it was a lot. It wasn't very long. I remember I rented it. You could rent from Blockbuster back then still. I rented it and took it home for a week, and it was fairly easy. Like I think I beat it in a few days because there wasn't a ton of. It just was. It reminded me a lot of the arcade, like that big Star Wars arcade that you used to be able to play, where you sat in the seat and because a lot of the levels were just like that. But it was mainly just going through the ships and shooting stormtroopers and stuff. But I did play that one, and then like I said earlier, I played the power battles as well. So yeah, a lot of those old PS1 releases. I played a few of those, not religiously, but I at least played them a little bit. So
yeah, and I after looking at that cover, I recognized that cover as well. Yeah, that's cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. So let's jump to The Force Unleashed. We're kind of going chronologically. Like I said, those three that we talked about, we kind of had to do a little prequel action. We have to go back in time first before we can jump and do the sequels. Anyway, so Force Unleashed, this is where we get introduced to a new character and a new idea in the Star Wars universe. I think the rule of two is somewhat being a little bit loosely messed with in the Force Unleashed, and I think also in the Clone Wars animated series where you've got Anakin has a Padawan, but he's not a master. So it's like they're messing with it a little bit. And I think too, like when you get to like the Night Sisters and Night Brother, not the Night Sisters. What is it? The
Inquisitors.
The Inquisitors, right? It's also another thing where it's like, okay, these are basically Darth Vader's Padawans. Like what? This isn't two anymore. So they're getting a little loose with the rule of two in some of these characters, but it's you need it because you want to have these characters that can be a force, no pun intended, in the evil side, on the dark side. That's not, you're always facing Darth Vader. Like Darth Vader can't be everywhere. So I get it. But who'd like to do a little bit of Force Unleashed kind of backstory? Chris, do you feel up for it?
Sure, why not? Force Unleashed basically introduces us to, as everyone knows, the most non-character broken person in history, Starkiller. Vader finds him as like he was going to kill like one of the last remaining Jedis that had gotten intel, and he lands on a remote planet. I forget what it's called, but he sees the Jedi there and fights over in like 2 seconds, of course. And then as he's going to like take the lightsaber, like he has in his hand, like the Starkiller, as he's like 2 years old, barely like 2 feet tall, just like force grabs it out of his hand. And Vader's like Imperial like officer and troopers come in, and then they line up to shoot the kid. And Vader like ignites his saber and like blocks everything and lashes out his whole crew. So then he takes him in to then raise him as a Padawan, because obviously anyone who knows anything Star Wars, Vader may work under Palpatine, but he doesn't like Palpatine. He
Right.
does not like Palpatine. So I'm assuming when I'm playing this game is he's trying to train Starkiller, so that, and of course they make a whole plan to try to take him out. Like, you know, he raises him, he teaches him in the ways of the Force, and he was essentially low key just like an abusive father. Like, you see Starkiller
Right.
go through like all this trauma, and it's just like a shadow over your head, which is pun intended funny because it's Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get to this whole go through this whole sequence of, you know, like him training, and I like the one scene where he's trying to like accumulate his saber together through the Force, and like Vader steps in and it just crumbles. And then my favorite part is probably when Palpatine discovers that like Vader is trying to use Starkiller, and Palpatine, you know, boards their ship. He comes in, Vader just like slashes Starkiller through the back, and it goes on this whole spiel where he like ejects him out the ship, but like he hit him in a certain spot to make him live, so that way like he wouldn't be able to die or something like that. I thought that was a little ridiculous. I was like, all right, this might have. I was like, this is like the same thing when we saw Leia float through space in like The Last Jedi, I think it was, or Rise of Skywalker. I was like, all right, time out. But that's pretty much his whole origin.
Yeah, that's awesome. Scott, what are some of your thoughts on The Force Unleashed?
Well, with the origin out of the way, which I think was really cool and really well done. My favorite scene from the first game is when he grabbed the Star Destroyer, and we now have a parallel between in the Kenobi series when Vader grabbed the escape pod and tried to pull it back down before the the Inquisitor second sister
Mm-hmm.
like started to attack him. Like, the escape pod was cool, and seeing that in the TV show was awesome, but watching Starkiller grab an entire Star Destroyer and successfully pull it out of orbit and just send it into the ground, that was super cool. In the second game, I have a lot of fond memories of running around and trying to collect all of the Kyber crystals, because in that one it was the basis for the customization that you got in Fallen Order years later, but you could only change the color of your lightsaber. And I remember always rocking the yellow one. I don't know what it was about the yellow one, the fact that I'd never seen one in a movie. I was dead set on getting that one. But the games being the true introduction of Sam Witwer into the Star Wars universe, and fun little tidbit I can say, because I saw this in an Instagram reel, but I haven't watched the show yet. I was waiting for the whole thing to come out for Maul Shadow Lord. So if you have seen it, David W. Collins plays the voice of Spybot in the show. He was the voice of Proxy in the first game.
Well, that's cool.
So Sam Witwer plays Maul. He played Starkiller, did the mocap for Starkiller, did like everything. And David W. Collins did the voice of Proxy. And now here we are, almost 20 years later. The two of them are main character and droid companion again.
That's amazing.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Josh, you got any thoughts on Unleashed?
No, not really. Like I said, I played a little bit of the first game. Really cool. Both the games, I've seen a lot of gameplay on the second one. I watched my friends play the second one. Really awesome. You know, the gameplay itself is really fun. The only thing I was gonna add is that character Starkiller is really popular, especially in my universe, the Funko universe, because they released Funko started doing limited edition pops last year, and some of them are limited to 750 pieces, some of them are 5,000 pieces, whatever. One of the first ones they put out last year was a Starkiller pop, limited to 750 pieces, and it sold out in like 2 seconds, and they sell on the aftermarket for anywhere from $800 to $1,400 because it's Star Wars fans want that character, but there's only one other. Well, there's technically two other Funko Pops of Starkiller. One is a GameStop exclusive of the more accurate to the video game character. That one doesn't go for as much. And then there's like a retro Starkiller one as well. But yeah, I just that whole time when Funko was putting those limited edition ones out, I remember people were going nuts, and I was like, "What the hell? Like, what are you guys paying that much money for?" But yeah, it's pretty nuts. So like, Starkiller is one of the most sought after Funko Pops, which is cool. So
Doing a quick Google search of Funko Pop Starkiller, he has both lightsabers out and he has Force lightning around his body. Okay, that one's pretty cool. I'd
Yeah.
spend some money on that one.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
amazing.
no, it's just crazy. Some of those 750 piece ones, they just because they are so limited, they just go. And you get them for. They started doing a lottery system now, so like you enter because just to keep people from the bots getting them and stuff. They still can get them, but you like basically wait and hear from an email a couple of days later after you enter. And then if you get selected, then you pay the retail price, which I think the 750 piece ones are like $50 retail. So I mean, a lot of people who get their hands on them, they get them for $50, resell them for hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. Like it's crazy. Yeah, I don't think it should sell for that much, but like it's cool that a very rare Star Wars character is like one of the most popular Funko Pops. I think that's really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a one side note on Starkiller. I believe that was the original name of Luke Skywalker. It's going to be Luke Starkiller, and then we also get Starkiller in the sequels. At least the first one, Force Awakens. That's Starkiller base. So Starkiller is getting some love in the Star Wars universe. And I'd say, Force Unleashed, they basically asked George if they could show like can we amp up the Force, and he's like, absolutely, have fun, do it all you want in the game. In this game universe, the Force, they wanted to go make everything go to 11 as far as the Force powers, but we're not going to actually see that level of Force in the movies and in the general arena of the things. I heard Sam Witwer kind of talking about that. It's like, no, we just got some freedom in this game to like really have some fun with it and let loose. But it's just kind of, it's for the sake of the fans. It's for the sake of like this experience of the Force. But don't expect to see that in other iterations. So just wanted to mention that. But I do remember playing it and just like lots of amazing things. So
I got two more things. One, Starkiller's real name in the games is Galen Merrick. So I think we got another nod to him in Rogue One, where Galen Erso was the designer of the Death Star. That's just my speculation after seeing his name. And the DLC for the game, so the game was taken out of canon when Disney bought Star Wars, but the DLC made it already out of canon already, because the alternate ending in the DLC had Starkiller going on a rampage and killing everybody, every single character from the Star Wars movies. He killed Luke Skywalker. He killed Obi-Wan Kenobi, he killed Obi-Wan in the Mos Eisley spaceport by throwing him into the thruster of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
And then there was a rematch fight against Obi-Wan's ghost, and Starkiller won that as well.
But you literally see Obi-Wan, I think, turn to pixie dust, like when he throws him in the thrusters. Like I remember that scene, he just grabbed him and it just turns into like poof.
Yeah. I mean, the game, it was, if I recall correctly, the DLC fights were Mortal Kombat, like side screen fights. And then it just, the finisher fatality was him just force pushing him into the thruster.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I love those games.
Yeah, it's great. It's like this kind of Elseworld type situation to like, hey, let's just play around in this universe and just, create our own story for the sake of just having a little fun offshoot that's not really part of anything else, and there's some fun to that too. Very cool. All right, let's jump to the last one that we're going to kind of do is like these kind of the retro games, and that is the MMORPG, massively multiplayer online role-playing game of 2011 release called Star Wars: The Old Republic. Before we jump into this Old Republic, I did want to bring up the fact that Warcraft was a game that you played, and then they created a multiplayer online game called World of Warcraft, which became this huge epic thing that at the time I felt like everybody was playing it. Everybody, like, it was huge. And then for me, my introduction to the massively multiplayer online RPG was The Matrix Online. It came out shortly after the Revolutions came out, and I just fell in love with it. It was a fun game. I played it for 2 years, and then had to like call it quits because it was, it's one of those things where you have to like find friends to play because there's not a whole lot of story, but you go on missions and stuff, and you need people to go on missions with in order to keep progressing in the story. And I didn't have a whole lot of friends that I could like kind of get online with. So, but it was a really fun story. But massive multiplayer role-playing game, Star Wars: The Old Republic. Scott, give us a little bit of insight into that real quick.
So when we were putting together this list of Star Wars games, I actually forgot a really important one to me, and it was the first MMORPG that was Star Wars related,
Oh yes,
Star Wars Galaxies.
yes.
Um,
That's
is
the one. That's the one that came out at the same time as Matrix Online. So that one was going at the
Yeah.
same time. Because when I saw that start date, I was like, that seems a little late. Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Star Wars Galaxies was one of the first games that I played with my dad.
Nice.
It came on 3 discs, and you had to install each disc.
Good luck, dude.
So you would install the 3 discs, and then you'd play the game. You got to choose through this and ridiculous skill tree. You had to choose your profession, and if you started as a marksman, you would start as a novice, and then you would get to choose one of 4 paths for pistolier, carbineer, rifler, and a rifleman, and whatever the last one was. And once you got all 4 of those up all 4 steps, then you could be a master marksman. And then from there, you could start as a specific pistolier, carbineer, or rifleman. You could be a chef, a dancer, a singer, and there were reasons to be all of them. If you were a dancer, you could sit in the cantina and you could dance for people. They would come, sit, and watch you, and they would get a buff. They would get extra health or more mind, I think is what they called it. Which was how much force power you could use.
So how much did you make as a dancer in Galaxies?
I wasn't a dancer. I was always.
I mean, you know an awful lot about this.
Well, I mean, I would always go and get the buffs.
There you go. So you just go watch.
Yeah, of
no
course.
touching, just watch.
No touching.
Sorry.
So I playing with my dad. My dad was always a Wookiee, and he was always a Terraskasi artist. So hand-to-hand combat. And I remember my dad would always go and he would play for a couple days, and then he would get me on and he would give me enough money to buy a speeder because it takes a ridiculously long time to walk across the entirety of Naboo to go do your little bounties. But you would just go and you'd collect money and you'd fill out your skill tree. And originally, when the game first came out, you would create your character, you'd start your skill tree, and your character would have a random chance at, once you finished enough of the skill tree, unlock the ability to become a Jedi. And being a Jedi had both pros and cons. One, you were basically unkillable, which was a huge pro, but the con is if you were ever seen in a public place drawing your lightsaber out, there's now a bounty on your head. And if you picked the bounty hunter profession, you're now on a list for all of those people to come and try to kill you.
Nice.
And the way that the game worked is your character was always there, whether you were online or offline.
Okay.
So if you were on a planet, they saw you, the bounty would say, hey, last seen here. Bounty hunters are going to go to that planet to hunt for you. You better be well hidden.
Wow. That's crazy.
To relate it to newer games that I know we've played, Destiny raids, Chris, there were raids in this game where you would go and fight crate dragons. And if you didn't have at least 2 Jedis, you were losing. Like, I mean, you had to be.
You didn't have. So if there was,
it was like 16 people minimum, 2 Jedis, and if you were not a master at what you were doing, you didn't stand a chance.
If there wasn't 2 Well of Radiance, the whole thing was scrapped.
Yeah.
That's
exactly
basically what I just heard.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I've played that a lot. The servers died. They basically
shut them
dropped.
down,
They shut the entire thing down after the player base dropped because of World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft started. It became super popular. And everybody, or the developers of Star Wars Galaxies, said, wow, that game's really popular. Let's change everything about our game to be like that. And all of the people still playing it said, well, if I wanted to go play World of Warcraft, I would just go play World of Warcraft. I like Star Wars Galaxies because it's this.
Yeah.
So there's been a group of people that have been rebuilding the entire game from scratch. And they host, I think they have 2 servers. They've been doing it for at least 15 years now.
Wow.
They have the game back up to exactly where it was before the big update, turning it into World of Warcraft. And you can go, you have to still own the game.
Okay, gotcha.
Own the game. 10 years ago, you were able to just download the discs from Reddit. I don't think you can do that anymore.
Yeah.
But I have a copy of the discs if anybody wants to play it. I mean, I can give you the proof that you own the game.
I've got Matrix Online on disc right over here too. It's right there. Matrix Online. I still have it. That's awesome.
Yeah, Star Wars Galaxies, you can still play it. It is a grind, and if you don't have the friends to play it with, it's really not that fun. But there are enough people to give you the buffs that you need to get to the point where you can help your friends. So transitioning back to the Old Republic, if I pull this up on Steam, I have 36 minutes on it.
It's that good, huh?
I was not a huge fan of the. I was not a huge fan of it. I went into it hoping for something like Star Wars Galaxies. It wasn't. But I do remember, like with World of Warcraft, I remember seeing the TV commercials for like Mists of Pandaria, and I never played World of Warcraft. It's a subscription game. You have to pay a monthly or yearly subscription to have access to the servers. But I remember seeing the ads for the new expansions. With the Old Republic, I remember the same thing. And that game, while the gameplay may not have been super great and in my wheelhouse, the cinematic trailers for each release, some of the best Star Wars stuff we've ever seen.
Nice. Good stuff. Did you ever play that, Chris?
I unfortunately have not. That might have been a little bit before my time.
Yeah, for sure. Josh, did you ever play any of the Star Wars?
I don't believe so. I mean, it looks vaguely familiar, so maybe I saw my friends play it, but I don't know. I can't remember if I played it or not. I don't think I did.
Yeah. Yeah, I like I said, I played Matrix Online, but I knew that Galaxies was in that same time frame as when I was playing, because I'd heard about World of Warcraft, I've heard about Galaxies, and I was playing the Matrix Online. So it's kind of a big heyday of MMORPGs. I don't know that there's any. I mean, I'm sure some of them are still going, but I don't hear about it as much as I did back in the early 2000s. So pretty wild.
I do have some good news. The Old Republic is free to play on Steam.
Okay.
So if you have 60 gigs of disk space and we wanted to start playing it, I'll give it another chance.
All right. That'd be kind of fun. We'll
this
see.
time we make it 40 minutes in, and then we go from there.
Yeah.
We're gonna get 40 minutes in and then go
at least an hour.
That's good. We're going to jump to the next segment, and we're going to call that the recent faves. These are games that have come out recently. Funny how that works. One of them being Star Wars Squadrons, which was basically a flight game. So kind of harkening back to the fun of like the original TIE Fighter game, probably even similar to something like Rogue Squadron game. There's in Squadrons, you're basically a pilot and you're flying around in all the space battles, and that's the game. I don't think there's anything that you're outside of your ship. There may be some cutscenes in between or whatever, but I bought it when it first came out because I thought the boys would like playing it. We played it a little bit, and then that was that. But anybody else play any of Squadrons?
I did. I pre-ordered it. I was actually really excited for it. I have 12 hours in it.
Okay.
My biggest issue with it was it's almost impossible to play a flying game on keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
On a keyboard and mouse, you only have 2 real planes of movement with WASD. So I played on a controller. It was fine. It made me nauseous.
Okay.
So then coming out in 2020 gave me the option to play it in VR, which helped. But it was a game that I was playing by myself.
Yeah.
It just
Wasn't as fun.
kind of fell off for me. I was hoping that some of my friends would play it more.
Yeah. Good call. Anybody else?
I think I logged about an hour before I got a refund. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Not to like say it's like a bad game, but like I think for like it being branded as like, space battles, I feel like I was hoping for something, I guess, like a little more immersive. And then, like Scott said, being on a keyboard and mouse, it was like you either have to play on a controller or you're not gonna have a good time. And then I don't think I was too fond of like certain mechanics of like how the inputs were on the controller. And I don't remember if you were able to like remap some of those things, but I never figured it out. And I was like, I'm not going to spend time trying.
Fair enough. Josh, I'm guessing you didn't play that one, huh?
No, I did actually. It was
okay. My bad.
Believe it or not, it was a free. You know how Sony will do like free two free games a month or whatever for PlayStation Network. Yeah, so that was a free game. Like it had been out for I don't know 6-7 months. And my brother texted me and he's like, "Hey, Squadrons is the free game this month." I was like, "Oh heck yeah!" So yeah, same with Chris and Scott. I mean, it wasn't an awful game by any means, but I was just having a hard time. Like the mechanics of it were just not very easy. Like you would play it for a little bit and you're like, "Oh, this is cool." You get to like shoot down ships and stuff. And then I don't know if it was just me or I just was too like I just didn't know what to do, but like I got super
to do next?
confused. I was
Yeah.
like, why is it not taking me to the next thing? I was like, I did everything they asked me to do. So I got I got it for free, so I'm not complaining too much. But I think the hype looked really awesome. I think we all were kind of like, oh, this looks really cool. And it just wasn't. It didn't really live up to it. So
For sure. Cool. Let's jump over to another. This one's a big one in the whole of pop culture. The Lego games are huge. We've talked about them multiple times on the podcast. But the Star Wars Lego games are all stellar. They're all great and amazing. Actually, my son Zeke, I think I mentioned it on one of them. My son Zeke has beaten the Skywalker saga twice, I think now, by himself, and so he's just
gosh.
yeah, he just loved it. So
I'll quit my
pretty
job
awesome.
and then I could get up there with him.
Yeah, exactly. So just kind of taking the Lego Star Wars games. It doesn't have to be a specific one, but just like Chris, what are some of the Star Wars moments you remember from the Lego games?
I think what's it called? When I used to play the original Lego Star Wars before the remake, I also played that on the Wii. I distinctly remember going through. This was funny because I played this, but I hadn't seen the movies yet. Like this was like the weird part, and I remember getting to like I think it was episode 2. Because remember how like it used to have a layout like in the old game. They had the 6 doors for the movies, and you had to like go through the door and complete to a certain part, and then you could go to the next one. I remember I did the first one, and I got to the second one, and then obviously that's like the clone one. I had no idea. I had never been more overstimulated probably in my entire life because I genuinely had no clue what was going on. I was like, I don't know what these things are. I don't know where, like, we just accumulated like billions of them, like the clones. And then
Yeah.
on top of that, you're going through as like, Padawan Anakin, and then, you're still kind of like young Obi-Wan in that sense. And I was lost. And then I think the third door, Revenge of the Sith, was, spoiler warning. I still hadn't seen the movies. So having to fight as like those two definitely brought some tears.
Yeah.
But I think those two doors were probably like those two episodes or sequences throughout the Lego Star Wars Skywalker saga were probably my favorite moments.
That's awesome. Scott, how about you?
Well, I mean, Lego Star Wars 1 and 2 being just 3 movies and 3 movies. The little hub area in the first game being the diner.
Mhm.
I don't remember what his name was, but the diner from Attack of the Clones. Um, and I don't remember what the hub was on the second game. But the complete saga that put all 6 of them together, I think you had to beat the first 3 levels in each movie to unlock the next movie. And I've beaten that game twice,
Nice.
collecting all of the gold bricks, which was just get all 10 mini kits in each level, and then get the red brick in each level and True Jedi. It was
Yeah.
three gold bricks per level, and it was 6 times like 36 levels. And then like the couple extras, the Indiana Jones Easter egg tie-in for that Lego game. But yeah, the droid factory in Attack of the Clones, that was one of my favorite levels. The giant arena from Attack of the Clones, that one's really high up there. The Mustafar fight and leading up to the fight, having to jump across the lava. The older Lego games having the screen drag, where if you go in opposite directions, you would just pull the other person with you.
Yes. That's the
Going
worst.
jumping across the lava. That was
That
you
is the
had to
worst,
play
yeah.
you had to play with somebody that was at the same pace as you.
Yeah.
The fight on Bespin with Darth Vader, all of them. And the best part of my favorite part of the complete saga and the 2 older games was the lack of voice acting made it was perfect. You have Obi-Wan sitting there in the Phantom Menace when Darth Maul kills Qui-Gon, and it's just wide-eyed like and the Lego sound of them breaking and falling apart, like classic sounds. I didn't play The Force Awakens as a Lego game. The fact that Zeke has beaten the Skywalker saga twice, I find absolutely ridiculous, employed or not. I have 80 hours in that game, and I have 75%. The only movie that I have finished 100% is The Phantom Menace.
No, I will say, let me clarify. He's played through all the levels, is what I
Okay.
mean.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
So
he didn't get all the little
the
mini
Kyber bricks.
Yeah.
I have
So-
almost collected every character. I
Yeah.
almost have every ship,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's not mentally stimulating enough for me to go and collect all 1,250 Kyber bricks.
Mhm.
I have 890 of them or something like that, but there's 35 different planets and open world for those planets, and you run around and do all these little puzzles, and it's just, okay, well, for this one, you have to step on 4 buttons within 10 seconds. Okay, well let's find the buttons and then go step on them, and boom, I collected a Kyber brick that took me 2 minutes. It's
Yeah.
I wanted
get
to
it.
play the levels, and the levels aren't the same. Like, you don't jump across the lava on Mustafar. The addition of the 3 latest movies was really cool. I did like that. Going and doing the space battle on X, what is the final planet
Oh,
called?
right.
Exegol?
Exegol, yeah.
Exegol, yeah. Like, doing that with all the Star Destroyers in the air, like, that was really cool. I enjoyed that level, but it just doesn't hit the way that I wanted it to, playing the complete saga through twice.
Yeah. Josh, did you play the Lego Star Wars games?
I played a little bit of whatever the first saga one was. I haven't played a ton of Lego games. I played a little bit of the Indiana Jones, just because my brother got that for free when he got his 360. It like came with the system. I played a little bit of Lego Batman and stuff, but Lego Star Wars. I just played a little bit of the older saga, but the Skywalker series one is pretty cool because I mean, I think for our listeners, if you have never played any of the games and you're a big Star Wars fan, that's probably the one you'll want to play the most because it covers all 9 of the main films. I think you can play as like 300 different characters. It's more open world, which they didn't do in the original iterations. And then a lot of the voice actors are in that one are from the actual movies, which is cool. So it's a little bit more fun.
Yeah. The first Star Wars game I played with the boys was the Clone Wars game, which was a lot of fun because you basically played through the whole series like you do in the movies. But it was a lot of fun. Like, and that was one where I was trying to like when I was playing those, and then we played Batman, we played the Avengers game, and I think we have Jurassic Park. I don't think we played through that one all the way through, and then we had the Lego movie. But in like those first 3 or 4 that I was playing with them, like we would play together, and then I'd say, all right, let's try and 100% this level, and then I would try to get all of the, and it's crazy. The cool thing, the replay value, I know it's tedious, Scott, but I think you would agree too that the replay value is immense and almost like infinite because you can't get everything the first playthrough.
Correct.
You have to unlock other characters to be playable so that you can then go back and then unlock. So it gives you a lot of layers to the game. So that if you want to just play through it, have some fun. You want to go further, then you can play with C3PO on Mustafar and
unlocking free play in the complete saga was awesome. Unlocking the extra layers to the levels, having little kid Anakin or Boba Fett to be able to crawl through the vents, having the different droids or the different having to have a stormtrooper on a level on Naboo in the first movie just to get this specific thing, the bounty hunters being able to throw the little bombs, like that was all really cool. And that's something that they actually removed in the complete saga.
Did they? Oh, okay.
Or not the complete saga, the Skywalker saga.
Okay.
You have access to every character the first time you play through the level.
Okay, interesting.
I think I don't, because it's more open world, you can go back to all these levels in free play, and it's not. Oh well, I have to go in as C3PO. It's I can choose one of.
Let me go switch. Yeah.
Yeah, I can switch to one of the 18 different protocol droids. Or one of the 12 different astromechs. Oh, I need a bounty hunter. Cool, I can just switch to that. I mean, it's not. It's a little less. I don't have to pick 8 characters to make sure I can do the whole level. I have access to all 240 of them.
I got you. I remember that, but I do think you still have to play through it once before you can unlock free play and then have access to everybody. But you aren't limited to just like you said having like the 8 to pick. Okay. So but all those games are, it reminds me of how I used to play Assassin's Creed, which was like I'd run 5 feet. Oh crap, I've got 17 chests I got to unlock in this little radius. Let me go do that real quick. Oh crap, I got a mission I've got to do. It's like so like ADHD, like just a killer because it just like so much replay value to try and get to that 100%. I remember there was one of those games I had one chest that I was missing for the entire game. And I had to I downloaded a map and I had to go through manually and mark every single one off the map so that I could find the one I was missing. It literally was the last one that I found on the map was the last one. Like I was so mad at myself. I was like, how in the world is I go through 149 things before I found the one that I was missing? It was like so insane. But that's kind of how I tried to 100% Assassin's Creed games and all that stuff because it was like there's so much extra gameplay. It just gives you that much more reason to play the games. Cool.
One sec. You bringing up Assassin's Creed. Have you done an episode on the Assassin's Creed movie with Michael Fassbender?
I have not.
Okay.
So
I'm not a huge Assassin's Creed fan. I own Black Flag, which was the 4th game, and I have not played it enough to really warrant being a fan of it at all. I didn't know until I got that game in 2018 that the Assassin's Creed games were present day, but you send your consciousness into the past. I didn't know that until after I started playing it 20 years after the first game came out. But Gabe is currently getting 100% on every single Assassin's Creed game.
Nice.
I think he's on the fourth. Like I think he just finished the fourth game like 2 days ago.
Okay.
So if you wanted to do an episode on the movie, as good or bad as it may have been, 18% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 5.6 on IMDb, but movie and games, I think Gabe might want to do that.
Okay. We might that might be like a one-off, like kind of little, maybe a live stream or something that's just kind of a fun extra. Because until they come, I think they're actually coming out with an Assassin's Creed show instead of doing another movie.
Even better. Just a filler if you need it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, good call. All right, let's jump to the ones we talked about earlier. Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor. These are now like fan favorites, current amazing games. Scott, why don't you share a little bit about kind of the story in Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor, just kind of lump them together.
I love the exposition that they added for all of the Inquisitors in Fallen Order. The penultimate fight there at the end where you fight Vader is spectacular. Cal Kestis is one of my favorite Star Wars characters, right behind Starkiller. I love that he's in canon, but Starkiller is just cooler in my opinion. I remember playing Fallen Order shortly after it came out, and I was like, oh, this is Star Wars game. This is going to be easy. And I played it on Jedi Master, which is the second hardest difficulty. And I think only one above normal difficulty. And I made it through the first planet pretty easily. And then you're given a choice. I don't remember what the other planet is, but you get to go to one of two. And Dathomir was the other option. And I made the mistake of going to Dathomir first.
You got bullied.
Too.
Oh, I got absolutely bullied.
You got bullied.
I was like, well, I knew going into it that if I go to Dathomir, I can get the double-sided lightsaber.
Right.
So, of course, I have to go get the double-sided lightsaber. And yeah, I got absolutely bullied. I put the game down, and it was probably 8 months before I picked it up again. But then I completely forgot like all the controls and how to play the game. So I started over, played it on normal difficulty, and I flew through the first planet. And part of the way that I was doing this, because Gabe has also 100%ed the first game. He and I have different strategies of going through to 100% it. I went through the first planet, went through the second planet, unlocked the ability to run on walls. So then I went back to the first planet and got the 2 extra chests, and then went on back to the second planet, because in that first planet I got something else, a new ability to force pull or something, and then went back to the second one, finished more of that, went to the third planet, got a new ability, went back through the first 2, and I did get burnt out, did have to put it down for a little bit, but the Fallen Order is a fantastic game, and it definitely warranted a sequel. And I do really love that it's a sequel, and it's truly a sequel. You don't start from scratch the way that most games do. You don't have to relearn how to double jump. You don't have to relearn force pull, force push. And I will say it suffers from the same thing that I've said in every Star Wars episode we've done. Of, all right, so here's where the story is, and then we're going to add this thing right here in the middle, and now we have this window to work in, and we're going to put another thing right here in between. And Cal Kestis doesn't exist in live action. They're having to pull enemies out of thin air. So like in the second game, I don't even remember his name. Like we're fighting against some guy that we've never heard of that they made specifically for this game, but he has a red lightsaber, but he's not an Inquisitor. Or like
Terran Malicos, or was that?
I think it was Terran. Like it just
he was a bit of an interesting character. Like I say interesting, I mean like he was just weird. like
cool fight.
It didn't have any depth.
Yeah. And that's my issue with a lot of things Star Wars, is because we've been stuck within this one era. They're trying to put all of these little stories in for extra lore, but it doesn't feel like it's adding anything.
Sure. Chris, how about you? What's your experience with Fallen Order
like
and
Scott said,
Survivor.
Fallen Order was genuinely one of the best games that's the first Star Wars that came on in a long time. Unlike him, I played on normal difficulty because I slightly had a feeling that I wouldn't be built for this.
Yeah.
I remember getting to what's it called, the scene where you can finally customize your lightsaber. I think I spent almost about an hour and a half trying to make like the coolest looking thing I could do. Just to find out that I didn't even have the correct crystal that I wanted for the color. So I was like, all right, whatever. I was like, enough of this. I put it down, came back a couple of days later. But I think one of my like he was saying with the Inquisitors, I like how you actually have a fight sequence with like majority. I think who's the big monster one that was like
The
also
ninth?
the ninth? Yeah,
I think so.
Unironically, she was one of like my favorite fight scenes. That was one of my favorite sequences, is having to go through her. And I remember one of the biggest complaints like with that game was like, well, how can you have like a lightsaber duel when it's like you slash someone and they should automatically just be dead? I was like, it's a video game. Just let it.
Yeah, I will say,
I was
cutting
like,
through stormtroopers 8 times
yeah,
and seeing the orange lines of where I just cut them, and
the health bar only goes like 75%. It's like, sure, but like, you know, in shows or whatever, they take a blaster shot and it's game over.
Yeah,
for sure.
Her you got to give a shout out, the greatest enemy in the game, Rick the door technician, voiced by, you know, Yuri Lowenthal. Scariest guy in the whole game. I think what I loved more was like, you know, like you said with Survivor, it's actually like a sequel. You pick up on the events of where Fallen Order left off, and you continue going through. The character in there, the who becomes like your friend for the time being, Bode. That was really good. Like he actually had like good depth, good background. You learned about like where he came from, like how he is to be. He is a child, and like yada. And then eventually you go to find out that like as he's been going along with you, in the end, you know, he turns his back on you, and he's been secretly doing all this for his gain. I don't want to give any spoilers out about the game if anyone's never played it, but and then you have that whole fight sequence. You inherently find out, you know, he's kind of like a Sith. He's got a red lightsaber, and you guys go through that. But I really loved Survivor probably a little bit more.
Okay, that's awesome. Not sure you'll play either of those.
I played Fallen Order. It's really fun, and I hope we do get Cal Kestis as like a live action character. I think it is in the works. Just when will we see him is the question. And then like what Chris was just saying about Rick the door tech. That was like an homage to Adam Driver on SNL when he was Kylo Ren undercover boss, and he was Matt the radar tech.
Yes.
So that was like a nice little. He was a meme boss basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Jedi Fallen Order was a lot of fun. I liked the details and the effects, and just the like what you could use as weapons, and the droid companion stuff was all really fun too. And then Saw Gerrera, played by Forrest Whitaker in Rogue One, he actually shows up, and he's actually voiced by Forrest Whitaker, which I thought was fun.
Nice.
So I know everybody loves Rogue One, so that was cool to throw him in there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the game. I think for me, the cutscenes and the story are where you just get these epic moments. Just take it from being a fun like run and slash game to being, it feels more weight. There's more depth to it, and so I just really enjoyed that, and it felt very much like Star Wars. I did have some of the same issue you did, Scott, where I went to Dorthamir second, and I was like, I should have not done this. Like it was so tough. I think I had to start over.
I've had a debate with some people about, are these games Souls games? And if you've never played Dark Souls or any of those games that just punish you for not paying attention, like those games are hard if you don't know what you're doing. And I mean, playing Elden Ring is like, I have 100% on Elden Ring. I beat the DLC like pre-nerf of the final boss, and that is one of my highest gaming achievements that I have.
He's not lying either. That is also like one of my highest achievement, pre-nerf.
Yeah, I mean that. Great.
Awesome.
I mean, great game. Not for this episode, but
yeah.
Like Chris, would you agree that the Jedi games are Or Souls-like?
Oh, yeah, I mean, with, like, the amount of, like, boss rushes you essentially go through, and then you're essentially, like, you know, just running through, you know, the other planets, so I guess, like, Souls games would be through the lands. You're going through, like, the other planets, and you're, you know, collecting stuff to upgrade your gear to then go fight the next boss.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's cool.
They had some references too. I forgot to mention in the what is it, Pyloon's Saloon or whatever. There's like I think there's like a clone trooper helmet on the back wall, and then there's also a replica of Jabba's what is it? His sail barge from Return of the Jedi.
Nice.
Yeah, that's in the background. So they have like little things in the background of that level where you can kind of see some cool throwback stuff to Star Wars.
Yeah, for sure. One last game I did want to mention. I don't know if anybody's played it. Star Wars Outlaws. Nobody's played it yet. I don't think, right?
I have not.
Yeah, no, I haven't either. I looked, just kind of quickly glanced at the review. Solid atmospheric open world scoundrel tale that shines in its immersive world building and syndicate reputation system, though it is held back by repetitive stealth focused gameplay and technical bugs. So I know that it was like one of those, when it was announced, it was like, oh, this is going to be really cool. So I was kind of hoping it would be great, but it sounds like it's not that great, unfortunately.
And don't worry, guys, if you want to play it, you can't. The servers are shut down, so save yourself.
Are they really?
Are they?
Oh my god!
They closed those.
That's crazy.
I guess that makes sense as to why it's not on sale for Star Wars Day.
Wow, that is wild.
I was gonna say, I mean, if it ever was not $70, I would want to play it, but I guess I can't.
So that said, a couple of upcoming releases we wanted to touch on. This will be very fast, but we already talked about Galactic Racer, which looks like it's going to be a nice, fun pod racer game, amplified for new gen technology. We also have another Old Republic series called Fate of the Old Republic. Upcoming release looks like 2030, or is that just a made up date?
Yeah, Scott? No, that was a made up date. We don't have. I mean, it was a 15-second, 20-second trailer of lightsaber igniting title screen. And I don't remember when we got that. It was probably
a few months ago.
It was during they put it out during the Game Awards. So whenever that was.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So last November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think of any Star Wars gaming fan, that's one that everybody's going to be. It has to be good, or everybody's going to revolt. Like the EA, whoever's producing it, I mean, they're going to just like crash the servers and stuff, because like it's got to be good, or it's going to be a bad day for the developers of that game. And then I think the last one that we're going to mention, Star Wars Eclipse. It's releasing sometime in the future. We don't know yet. But Scott, you're telling a little bit about the origin, or like the story of that game. What was that?
It was, which I just put the link to it on that document. It's a new action adventure multi-character branching narrative game set in the High Republic era. We did get a little bit of a cinematic trailer for it. I don't remember when it was. I mean, it's been announced. It's going to be a long time. I jokingly put that it's going to release in like 2067. The multiple character branching narrative, it should be like a Gears of War or like GTA 5 style story where you have, I would assume at least 3. For them to say multiple character, that tells me it's going to be 3 or more. I'm excited for it. I don't know if I'll still have a computer or still do any of that, still be able to use it.
Yeah.
When the game comes out.
Yeah, for sure. Very cool. I think that kind of does it. We've been pretty exhaustive in our discussion on the video games. Just thank you, Chris and Scott, one more time. Thank you so much for being on this episode.
Thanks
you guys
for
brought so much insight, so much experience, and so much fun as we talked about these. So again, thank you so much. So I guess that's all we got today, folks. So we'll catch you next week. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to jump over to our website, moviesthatmakeyoupodcast.com, to see all of our links. Follow us on Instagram so you never miss an episode, a live stream, or an interview. And until next time, keep watching movies.